Hi guys, this is going to be the first video. We're going to be starting a small word problem unit on weighted averages. And so weighted averages is something actually that you work with all the time in school especially. And it's when you have multiple items and when you find the average, they each have its own factor. What I mean, in school, in math class, when you have tests, we take the average of the tests, and that's weighted at 50% for your grade. And then we do your quizzes, and we average those, and that's weighted at 40% in honors class. And then our homework, that is weighted at 10%. So each component has its own weight to it. So tests are worth more. We don't just take all your grades and average them together. Okay, so in this video, we're going to solve mixture problems with price and quantity and mixture problems with percents. All right, I'm going to show you a word problem. I need you to write this word problem down. So write it down. Take a moment to read it because it's got a lot of stuff in it. And we're going to go over how to set up a table to help solve this. As you're reading it, these are some things that you need to think about. That is a mix being created, because eventually we're going to do other types of problems. Which items are being mixed, because that's what's going to help you set up your table. And what is being created. So those are the items that we're going to look at. Pause so you can finish copying this down. Okay, so you're going to set up your table like this. We have 3 columns. And across the top, you're going to put your rate, your quantity, and the total amount. All right, so I'm going to bring up our word problem that we have right here. And I'm going to read through it. And as I read through it, we're going to fill out the table. So the first read through, Nate makes his own furniture polish. So that's something to clean the furniture, which costs $4.40 per kilogram to make. The first ingredient is beeswax, which costs $12 per kilogram. The second is linseed oil, which costs $2.50 per kilogram. Nate has already melted down 1 kilogram of beeswax to make the polish. How much linseed oil does he need to add? Okay, so down on the left side are the items that are going to be mixed. So we have our 2 things, beeswax and linseed oil, and we're making a mix. So that's what we fill in there. Okay, so now we're going to use, again, I'm going to read through again, and as I'm doing that, we're going to fill in what we know. So I'm going to do that in black actually. It says his polish costs $4.40 per kilogram to make. That's going to go in your rate. So you're going to put 4.4 there. The first ingredient is beeswax, which costs $12 per kilogram. So there's the rate there, $12 per kilogram. The second is linseed oil, which costs $2.50 per kilogram. Okay, now the quantity, how much do we need? Nate has already melted down 1 kilogram of beeswax, so beeswax has 1. How much linseed oil does he need to add? So that's the one that we don't know. The quantity there is X. The total quantity that we need from beeswax and linseed oil would be when we add these 2 together. So that would be 1 plus X. Okay, to get our total amount, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply your rate times your quantity to get your total amount. So I'm going to do 12 times 1, then 250 times X, and $4.40 times 1 plus X. Okay, so you multiply your rate times your quantity to get your total amount. Now, in order to write our equation, you have to realize that going down your columns, so I'll put this in a different color, you're going to do your beeswax plus your linseed oil. So we're adding over here, and it should equal your mix. So we're going to add these two, and that will equal. So that's what I'm going to do on my right side, and this is what's going to help me get my equation. I'm going to add these two numbers, and I'm going to set it equal to that. So this is where you get the equation from. All right, so let's see. We need to write a let statement. You get your let statement from looking in our question. Our question said, how much linseed oil does he need to add? So linseed oil is what we're looking for. That's your variable. That's where you get your let statement. Since it's a word problem, that's why we write that. We take what's written along the right, 12 times 1 plus 250 times x equals 4.40 times 1 plus x. And now we just have to solve our equation. We have the equation. So on the first step, you're going to distribute the 440 here on the right, and you're going to get 12 plus 2.5x. I just condensed the left side, equals 4.4 plus 4.4 times x. Now I need to combine like terms, so I need to get my x's together and my numbers together. I brought my 2.5 over, and then I brought my 4.4 to the left. Next step, I simplify that, and then I divide both sides by 1.9, and I get 4 kilograms. Now, it's a word problem, so we have to remember our 4 steps. First one, let statement. Second one, write an equation. Third one, solve your equation. Fourth one, write the sentence. So our sentence here should say, how much linseed oil does he need? He needs 4 kilograms of linseed oil. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, please write this down. I can move my little camera here so you can see it. Write it down and see if you can get the whole table filled out without me. So pause after you've written it down, write it down and see if you get it right. If not, you can adjust, but then at least you're getting some practice. Okay, so assorted dry fruit sells for $5.50 per pound. How many pounds of mixed nuts selling for $4.75 per pound should be mixed with 10 pounds of dried fruit to obtain a trail mix that sells for $4.95 per pound? Okay, so it is a mix. We're mixing things. What are we mixing? So let's look to see what we're mixing. We are mixing mixed nuts and assorted dried fruit. So those are the things that we're going to write along the left. And it's a mix. Okay, so if you get a little confused, that word obtain right here, that's going to give you a hint as to what you're being created. It's a trail mix is what we're creating. Okay, so now we're going to fill out what we know. Assorted dry nuts cost $5.50 per pound per, that's your rate. Oh, wrong one, sorry. And our mixed nuts is $4.75 per pound. Okay. Quantity. So now we're going to look around. It says $4.75 per pound should be mixed with 10 pounds of dried fruit. Okay, so dried fruit, 10. How many pounds of mixed nuts? That's your X. We don't know that. Okay, so let's fill in. We know that the total amount of the mix is going to be this right here. It's the trail mix. It sells for $4.95. That's going to get filled in there. We add X plus 10. Okay, to get across on the right side, you multiply and it equals this. So $4.75 times X, $5.50 times 10, $4.95 times X plus 10. Okay. So there's our table. So we're all set now. We can get our equation. First, let's write a let statement. We get our let statement. I'll grab a purple. How many pounds of mixed nuts? Right here, it says we're asking for pounds of mixed nuts. That's your X. That's what we define it as. Let X be the pounds of mixed nuts. We write our equation. Along the right, I told you that you should add them and set it equal to each other. Okay, so here's our equation. Then we're going to distribute, and then we're going to combine like terms. Keep simplifying. Divide both sides by 0.2, and you should get 27.5. We have to write our sentence. Here's our sentence. 27.5 pounds of mixed nuts. I guess we should make that a little bit more of a complete sentence. How many pounds? So 27.5 pounds of mixed nuts should be added to obtain the trail mix. Something like that. So that it's a complete sentence and so that we're using our English. Okay. One more type of problem I want to do with you is mixture problems with percents. So write this down. Basically, it's percents instead of our prices that you have had. So very similar. You're going to read it carefully to see what is being mixed and then what is being created. Okay. Remember this word obtain is going to help us too. Obtain the required 30% solution. Okay, so what we're creating then, that word obtain will tell us that we're creating a 30% mix. Now, what did we use to create that? Well, let's go through and find. It says, Kendra had an experiment calls for a 30% solution of copper sulfate. Kendra has 40 milliliters of 25% solution. How many milliliters of 60% solution should be added to obtain? Okay, so those are our two that we have, 25% and 60%. Now, your rate for these kinds of problems are actually the decimals. So 25% is a decimal, 0.25. 60% is a decimal, 0.60, and 0.30. Okay, the quantity. Well, it says that Kendra has 40 milliliters of 25% solution. The question asks you how many milliliters of 60%, so that's your X. We add them. Okay, again, remember you're going to multiply equals. So you should get this, this, and this. Then we write our equation. Remember that we are adding and it equals. So we should get this. Although I don't think we wrote a let statement. So it should say let X equal, and our question said how many milliliters of 60% solution. Let X equal the amount of milliliters. Milliliters, right? Just want to confirm. Milliliters. Of 60% solution. Sorry that it's so sloppy. It's connecting there. Okay, then I solve. I'm just going to show you how to solve it quickly. And that's it for today. Distribute, combine like terms, simplify, divide, and we get that. We write our sentence, 6.7 milliliters of the 60% solution. Okay, that's it. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow in class. Have a good one.